In this video, we're going to be talking about title hopping. Yes, you heard that. No, this isn't the newest Olympic sport. This is something that is plaguing. It is literally messing up the car market. So what is title hopping? All right, so this is how it works. I'm gonna give you a quick scenario. We have a guy named Bob, and then we have a guy named John. Bob is gonna buy a car from John. He's got $50,000, and he goes over to John and he says, I would like to buy your car with cash. And then John's like, cool. And then he gives him the title. And then Bob, what he should do is go register it and pay taxes. To give you an example, here in Colorado, we're almost to 10%, which is a ton. So a $100,000 car is about $10,000 of taxes. And that's a lot of money. And this is why all of this was created, about money, avoidance, and profit. So Bob, instead of him registering the title, he drives around in a car. He looks cool. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, Bob has a cool car. But he doesn't register it. And he takes the risk of getting pulled over. And if he does get pulled over, he's probably going to tell the police that he is going to register it or he's planning to do it. But his whole goal is not to register it. His goal is to drive it and then sell it. Because now Bob has put it up in Facebook Marketplace and he says, I would like to sell my car and I would like to get 80 grand for it. So somebody comes along and says, I would like to buy this car. And what Bob does, it says, awesome, give me the 80 grand and I'll give you the title. And at this point in time, what we see in the car market literally everywhere is where the new buyer, we're going to call the new buyer Steve. Steve notices that the title isn't the name of Bob, it's the name of John. And Steve should walk away. But what happens, a lot of times people are like, that's cool, whatever, I'm getting a good deal for the car. It's not a big deal. But that's not true because it is absolutely illegal. But here's the crazy part. The liability for Steve is insane because at this point in time, Steve doesn't know if Bob actually bought the car from John. In this situation, he did, so he's getting lucky. But in the worst case scenario, Bob literally found a title at his cousin's house, doesn't like his cousin, so he's literally selling his cousin's car while he's deployed overseas so he could cash in the money and disappear. And here's the thing, if Steve buys that car and his cousin comes back from deployment, he could literally sue Steve. Not only is he gonna get his car back, but now Steve is out of his $80,000 and Bob is gone. He's got the money and Steve is out of everything. So the risk to title hopping is so extreme that in my opinion, you should never take a stake in it or ever be part of it because the liability is crazy. Long story short, whenever you're buying a car, literally the title should have the name of the person who owns the car, and that person should literally be selling you the car physically, and you should be able to see either by ID or any other form of identity or identification that it is actually that person. But in today's world, a lot of people are taking too much risk and buying cars with a title that has been hopped, which is a very bad thing. At least Michael and a big old team put together this website, carsoundcheck.com, and this is where you could order a custom car report. Let me give you guys an example. We investigate the VIN, we get service records. But not only that, we take your specific vehicle and we look for the actual real common issues. We try to find out what the OGs would tell you to watch out for. So at the end of the day, when you buy a car sound check guide, you essentially go and save money because you become the OG. You learn everything you need to learn to be able to inspect the car the best way you can. Check us out at carsoundcheck.com. Well, hopefully you learned something because in today's video, like I said, title hopping is bad, and hopefully you learned something how to avoid it.